Hi guys, this is Reggie. I know I haven't put a gameplay video up in about a few days. That's because I just got a new job, so I'm working on getting all that stuff sorted out. I probably will only be doing videos on the weekends because I'll probably be really exhausted when I get home every night. But I will still be doing videos. It'll probably just be Saturdays and Sundays, probably not Monday through Friday, unless something happens. Um, so as you saw, you might have clicked on this purely because it said Final Fantasy 15 delay rant. And yes, it was kind of clickbaity, but I am going to talk about the Final Fantasy 15 delay, and about the people that are having issues with this delay. Now, originally we were supposed to get it at the end of September, September 30th, and everybody's like, "Yay!" And now it's been delayed till November 29th, so that's about a 2 month delay. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it doesn't make sense that it got delayed for just a day one patch to be put in. Because, 80% of the world has internet. Well, that's true and not true. 80% of America, more than likely, probably yes. But 80% of the world, maybe. And even if let's say 80% of the world does have internet, well, then there's the 20% of fans that don't have internet that don't want to have to, that can't do a day one patch, so they're not going to get, all the bug fixes, some extra stuff that's normally on patches and such. So there might be like some new like quest stuff. Well, they're not going to get any of that, so they're not going to get the full experience. And then you have out of that 80%, let's break that 80% down. You have people that, yes, while they have internet, they have dial up or satellite internet. And that's really freaking slow. I know. I used to have, when I was younger, I had dial up, and when I was in college at my dad's, I had satellite. And it's slow, and if you do one big download, it kills your internet for the rest of the day. So you're kind of screwed if you're doing college work or anything other, like, if you download a huge patch, you literally, like, your internet moves at a snail's pace. It's as bad as dial-up. So let's say that's 20 more percent of the people that have that live in rural areas. Okay, so that's 40% of the fan base that either can't get a day one patch or really don't have to deal with it. So there's 40% of your fan base. I don't think Square would want to leave out 40% of their fan base. And then there's people like me, the internet I currently have now, which I will not mention, to where they have okay internet, works most of the time, so, when it doesn't want to. And a big download still kind of throttles the internet. Like, it's still workable, but you can't, like, you can use Facebook, check your email, check your bank account, do schoolwork. But if you need to watch videos, or you want to watch YouTube videos, or you want to watch Netflix, or you want to stream music, or stream games, like gameplay videos, nah, day one patch will kill it. You can check Facebook, check email, check bank account, write papers, check your student stuff. That's it. So let's say that's probably another 20%. Well, there's 60% of your fan base, and 40% have the best internet in the world, let's say. Well, that's 60%. Yeah, that 60% doesn't want to deal with a day one patch. And then there are people that still have good internet, but still don't want to deal with a day one patch. There are people like me that just want to bring the game home as soon as it comes out, pop it in the PS4, Xbox One, let it do the little install, and then play it. They don't want to have to wait 5, 10, 15, 20, an hour to get to play the game. It sucks. I've been playing Grand Kingdom, for instance. It just came out. And yes, it was like a not even 2 minute patch to it, but I was still like, really? After it installed, I was ready to play it, and it had a patch, and I was like, oh my goodness, this game just came out. Why does it have a patch? And I'm even starting to get frustrated because PSN has some older games from PS2, and like Rogue Galaxy I've been playing, it had an update. That's an old ass game. It shouldn't need an update at all. It works fine. But to those of you that say, oh, a day one patch isn't that hard to implement, I don't think you've actually done programming. I make video games in my spare time. In between this and my job and keeping my house functioning, I somehow find a way to work on video games. And I'm currently working on a game called Demon seals, not souls, seals. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Google. It's about a fourth of the way done, and it takes a lot of work. I've been working on this game for 2 years, and it is about a fourth of the way done. That's it. And that's mainly because it's myself and one other person who helps. That's really it. I have someone who is willing to do music now, but their computer's currently down. So I'm kind of waiting on them. And then I have someone who's going to make my normal maps pretty maps. But his stipulation was that I did all the maps myself first, so that way he would know what I kind of sort of want them to look like. And so that's going to take time. And it's also going to take me time to get the money to pay him for how much he's going to charge for the parallaxing of the maps. So that's a lot of time and effort, and I do the programming. I make the characters. I make up the whole story and lore and everything. And that's a lot of work. And it can be frustrating at times because I'll play test it, and I'll find some bugs, and I'll fix those bugs, and then I'll play test it again, and I'll find more bugs. And it's literally like this freaking continuous loop. Now my game, when it comes out, I don't want to have to patch it. So it's going to take forever. You know, there's no way I doubt it'd be done by the end of the year, because I still have 6 dungeons left to do. And that's just the mapping. That's not including doing all of the eventing for you to go from map to map, all of the encounters, the bosses, the events that happen afterwards for dialogue and this and that. That's a bunch of stuff. And if I were to just make the game to where it was playable, worked well, had a few issues, but it was pretty much, unless you really tested it, you wouldn't find them. I could put it out, and I would call my master version. It's ready to ship, good to go, but I wouldn't say that there were any major bugs. Okay, but if I want to really give my fans what they want, I would wait until all of my bugs were worked out, even the minor ones that most people wouldn't notice, and then I would put it out. That way they would have what's called the Ultimate Edition, in my opinion. And that's essentially what Square is doing, the Final Fantasy team is doing at Square. They were like, hey, so we have the game, it's complete, it's good, might have a few bug issues, might need some updates later on, but it'd be alright, we might just have to have a day one patch for stuff we find out while we're just going through the code and stuff. And then they were like, this doesn't sound like a good idea, because people always complain about day one patches. I know so many people that complain about the day one patches. So, instead of saying, oh, here, you'll have a day one patch, they're like, okay, we won't have a day one patch. We'll delay the game, put the day one patch in the game, and it'll be good. It'll be good for a good few months, until, the players are actually playing it and finding bugs, and then we can fix those. Because they only have so many playtesters that can playtest for so long, and when it goes out to the actual consumer, the consumer can find more bugs and report them in, and that's why you have patches, a few months later after a game comes out, because more bugs were found that they couldn't find. Because they don't have a billion people to test their games. It just doesn't work that way. So they delayed it for 2 months. And 2-month delay means it's a pretty big patch. They must have found a lot of maybe minor bugs, maybe a few big bugs that they didn't realize were there. And then they said they're going to include some extra stuff. So maybe some extra side quests, maybe, maybe one of the patch updates, because you can change their clothes, maybe one of the patch updates was going to be, adding clothes to the shops. And maybe they were like, oh, we'll just put that on the day one patch. We don't really have time for that. But now that they've delayed it, maybe this is pure speculation because you can change their clothes. Now maybe they can, take that aspect, if they did make that aspect, and put it in now. So that way when we play the game, we're like, oh, hey, cool, shops. And you're like, oh, cool, new outfit. I might want to try it out. Just for people who like different, looks. And trust me, I've been waiting on 15 since it was announced. Since they said it was actually physically going to be released, and this will be a year ago on September 30th, I pre-ordered this game. and I know you guys are going to say I'm crazy, but yeah, I pre-ordered it a year ago. And I have $5 sitting on it because I was like, until I know an actual date, I'm not going to pay it off. I'm thinking about actually upgrading to, if I can, upgrading to a nicer version. But what I mean by you guys, and you guys might say, oh, well, still, day one patch shouldn't take that long. Yeah, it does, because they have to destroy all their pre-production discs. Pretty much all the discs they've made, they have to throw them away. Destroy them, break them, everything. Then they have to go through the game, put the day one patch in, which can take a while because certain patches change certain things, so you have to go in and maneuver everything around and hope to God it doesn't break anything. Number 2, then after you've got it all situated and you've tested it and it works, then you have to get the discs, put it on the discs, do the artwork to the discs, get the cases, put them in the cases, get the artwork for the cases, put the artwork in the cases, seal them up, wrap them up, box them up, and ship them out for the launch date. And that's actually a lot of work. Because then you have to have your artists, there have probably been tons of covers already printed, and tons of the artwork on the discs. Well, now they have to reprint all of those covers. And that might not sound like a lot, but that's a lot of extra dollars that they weren't expecting. They have to reprint all these covers on new discs that'll have the day one patch already on and in there. That's a lot of work. And, to you guys out there that are complaining that, oh, it doesn't take that long. Yeah, it does. I found 2 bugs in my game, and they were small bugs, and it took me almost a month to fix those 2 bugs by myself. So if there's a lot of bugs, even for a big name game company, there's a lot of bugs. Minor, maybe some major. You have to take that, and then you're going to say, oh, well, we want to add this extra stuff in since we're delaying the game to reward the fans. Well, then you've got that on top of it, so that all culminates into, delaying it for 2 months. Because they're going to work on it at the end of this month, work on it in September, work on it in October. November is actually when production stops. Probably right around the beginning, probably about the first week of November. Maybe mid to the second week. But it stops, because then they put it on the discs, put the artwork on the discs, put the discs in the cases that they have, put the artwork in the cases. If there's a little, sleeve manual, they put that in there. They gotta seal them up, and wrap them up, and box them up, and then ship them from the production to every place in the world, because, again, they're still doing the worldwide launch. It's just now on November 29th. So that means they still have to ship it all out, meaning they ship normally probably about a week in advance, depending on how far it's shipping to. And then it gets to the distributors slowly, and then it's hopefully at all the distributors' places on the 29th for the release. Because I know some places are going to expect it, probably GameStop is going to have probably a midnight launch, more than likely, and it's going to be packed. So, that's good. They have to make sure they have enough for the pre-orders, maybe a few extras for in-store, if they even, have enough to do that. Which, people be like, oh, they should. Well, there are games out like No Man's Sky and other games that I've played, I won't say, but there are games that I've played that they weren't there on release date. The Atelier series, or Atelier, however it's pronounced, that game wasn't there. The newest one, I think it's Shally. I think. No. I forget what the newest one is. But anyways, it was not there the day it came out. I called and it wasn't there. I had to wait 2 days before it to come in. So, I'm just saying, it takes a lot more work than you think it does. A day one patch is essentially rewriting code. So that's why when you download a day one patch, it might be pretty big, and you install it, and that takes, a while. That's because it's literally rewriting the code, and sometimes it F's it up. Okay? I've seen instances in Dragon Age where birds are not standing on anything at all. They're just, here's the ground and here's the bird. And I just kind of look at that like, that's an issue, and it's had a bunch of patches. But one of the patches might have messed up to where the bird stands here and the ground is here when the bird's supposed to be standing on the ground. I've seen it with my characters actually, like, not standing on the ground in Dragon Age Inquisition. The ground is here, my characters are here, and I'm like, that's a problem. And I kind of giggle and laugh and move on. But, don't be really hard on the developers. They've been working. And for those of you that are like, oh, they've been working on it since 13 verses. No, actually, they haven't. They literally, like, took 13 verses, crumbled it up, and threw it in the trash can and worked on 14. And then after they got done with 14, then they worked on 15. So it's been about a normal, like, 4-year cycle. It'd be fine. We'll get it this year. It's just been delayed so that way things can be fixed. And they don't have to put a day one patch on it. I would prefer to not have a day one patch. Because I don't want to kill my internet. And I also just don't like to have to be like, and wait. I hate that. I hate that. I want to bring the game home, put it in my system, let it install, and play. I don't want to wait 30 minutes, an hour for a patch. Okay? So that's my end of my rant. Like I said, I'll probably do a gameplay video tomorrow, maybe. But that's all for now. And as soon as I find my thingy, I'll see you all